Hey everyone, I hope you're having a really great day. I'm so proud of you for landing here because this is going to be like a really awesome conversation that I know that you want to participate in. This is my buddy, Dr. Sara. Sara, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And
Thanks for
Sara and
having
I
me.
way back to 2018 when Sara first joined the 56-day boot camp and opened her new practice. And life has had a lot of interesting twists and turns since then. That's for sure. And we're both headed to Sedona in November for the Women's Rejuvenation Retreat. And I asked Dr. Sara to join me today because she's, I will say, one of my most favorite people to interview and have conversations with. She always brings it. And so let's jump right in. So Sara, you went from an all-out high velocity growth in your career to intentionally slowing your pace. What shifted in you that welcomed that change?
You know what's interesting is I just before this call had one of those reminders from my family has this always Facebook Messenger conversation. Love it or hate it. It's always. And so, by the way, if you see this, I hit my head earlier. So nobody worry about me. I'm okay. I just saw it and was like, doesn't look good. Anyways, so I get this memory that's like a picture of the ultrasound. Emily, my daughter, is about to turn 2. So spoiler alert, it was her that shifted a lot. But and 2 years ago, I was sitting in the hospital at like 33 in some days, weeks and some days, with high blood pressure, terrified. And just like, this can't be happening to me. I take care of myself. I'm one of the people who teaches people how to not have this happen. And, and I sent it to my husband and I said, 2 years ago, this little face gave us so much hope because it was one of those like really vivid face photos that they can do these days. And I remember we put it on it was like goals. The little whiteboard in the hospital said goals. And I was aiming for this like home birth. So I'm first of all, like, what's a hospital? But I'd never even been in the hospital. This is smelly and it was hot. But anyways, next to goals, we just like put her face up there because that's what changed everything. That little face and like that responsibility and that calling and that legacy journey that is motherhood is there were things that like changed me before that, but like nothing quite as deeply transformational as that little face.
Isn't that the truth? It's all encompassing, and it just grows. So my youngest just turned 28 on the 12th. So like, obviously how we're doing it is light years apart from each other, but I don't think the song in our hearts changes, regardless if you were a mom in the 1800s or a mom now. There's just something so profound about motherhood, even for those of us who never really saw themselves as moms. I think you and I have had that conversation before that I really just thought I was going to be like one of those career women. And then God said, oh, but wait, I have something so much more beautiful for you. And I said, thank you. So in our coaching together, you face some of the performance demons head on. How would you describe the difference between healthy drive and ego-driven pressure?
Yeah. I actually was thinking about that right before I was getting on this call too, because I had like hit my head and I was like, oh, like that blind rage that happens. I don't know if everyone feels this, but whenever something hits my head, I'm especially like my system has to like reboot and I can't be nice until it passes. And I was like, I can't do anything now because I've hit my head. And what if I can't perform? And I was sitting here like, remember, that's the whole thing is like, you don't have to perform. You can just show up genuine. And I think I don't even think perform and drive it's interesting. Like, how would you describe the difference? Is like, they're not the same. They're not the same.
Yes.
One is, I'm still a dancer. I was always a dancer my whole life and I perform right on stage. And that is like such a like specific thing to me now, versus like, just like genuinely being. And even like drive is, it's something so personal. Some people
Yeah.
hit like waves of drive. Some people are like those really consistent pace people. Like, I just feel like they're like really different concepts even
Yeah.
at this point. And I still get it where it's like you have to be on in order to matter, or to take care of other people, or, you know, to like, what was the thought I had the other day? It was like, if I'm listening to people express like opinions, what thoughts or worries that I like don't agree with or can't relate to, am I performing because I'm not saying how I feel? And I'm like, no, you're just holding space for someone. Like, what if it's just not about you? What a
Yeah.
silly thing to worry about. But yeah, you know, you hear people say like, you have to be your most genuine self, loud and proud. And I think that's so great. I just don't think it's the only thing you can be. I think you can be that in moments. And I think you can be just another version of you, another aspect of you later too. Like, I think it's all welcome. I hope I answered the question.
Well, and it makes me think of, Sara, the work that we've done and talked about where silence does the heavy lifting. Sometimes the most profound way that we can be loud and proud is through silence. And like you said, just holding space for that other person, and having the emotional intelligence and the confidence to say nothing, right? To just allow them to express
Yeah.
is most of the time what other people need, more than our
Yeah.
opinion, more than our advice.
Yeah.
It's just holding that reflective space. So motherhood, as we've talked about, has a way of revealing our identity, and how so much of our identity in the past has been wrapped up in achievement, in performance, in bigger and better and like louder, all of those things. What was the most surprising part of that identity shift for you?
I think how good it felt when I finally gave into it, because there were, well, everyone I think likes the newborn bubble to some extent because it's your first, and it's like the only excuse you've ever given yourself, maybe if you're me, to like slow down and just sit there and have such singular focus. And it is so primal. Your body just kind of knows what to do and can hear and feel the baby cry before they do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's incredible. But I think too, I took my business from a team of about 10 people to 3 and a virtual assistant. And that process was so humbling and so, gosh, it really had its hard moments. It was like, I don't have the answers. Now I have to admit to everyone that I don't have the answers. Now I have to, is this failure or is this honoring my, instincts? And I just thought that growth would be like, so like it's going this well every year. It'll probably always go that way. Give me a few more years and I'm going to be a millionaire. Like, and I just, and it's not that I'm like, I feel like it's this huge, like backslide or anything. It's just like, it looks so wave, like pull back, come in, pull back, come in,
Yes.
and it's so like that analogy that's like ride the wave, don't fight the wave. Like a surfer will actually die in the ocean most of the time if they fight the wave, rather than like feel it, work with it, ride it. Yeah. And I think that was so surprising, is it was like that and the fact that this pullback for me feels like longer than I thought it would. Like I'm like, it's still going. There are days when I wake up and I'm like, oh yeah, this is just my life now. And it's like, I'm still in charge of this little girl and she's going to keep changing and we're just here together forever. This isn't like, it's not a thing that like, it's a whole lifetime. It's a whole legacy. It's a whole family unit that keeps changing. And why shouldn't business absolutely reflect all of that? when your business comes from the heart and has so much personal brand built into it, yeah, it's gonna ebb and flow.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's surprising and predictable,
It makes me think of like when you were speaking earlier about like, almost like flow versus force, and like watching you on stage as a dancer of, it's very evident watching dancers of where they're like literally hearing the music and it's just going through them, versus those who are like, okay, step right, step left. And they may even like choreographically have it all right, but there's a big difference, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like Ben and I often talk about the difference between musicians, well, performers today versus musicians.
Yeah.
Like just one of our most favorite musicians and songwriters is John Prine, and we got to go to a concert at the Opry, not the Grand, not the Ryman, but the Opry, a few years ago with Sammy and Libby, and like you feel all of the essence of his music versus going to a stadium and it's this big production and big performance. And not that one is right and one is wrong, they're just not the same.
Yeah.
Right? Of that flow, just what's in here that's wanting to come out. And so often our limiting beliefs and our habitual thinking, that big thing called our brain, just keeps us going like a puppeteer. I just posted about on Facebook about that this week, of feeling like we're just being controlled by all of these other things. And it makes sense. Like, you and I both understand ego's role and how ego creates these beliefs that protect us. And so they're good, but there's also a responsibility on our part to check in with, does that still serve me?
Yeah.
What are you finding in motherhood that comes up like that? Those old patterns that you just stop and you're like, wait a minute, I don't know if that serves me anymore.
In motherhood, well, something occurred to me right away about business as you were saying that, and then I want to answer that question while saying that. They always talk about chiropractic being a science, a philosophy, and an art, and the science comes from outside of you into your brain. The science isn't like born inside of you. The philosophy too, you like hear it, you play around with it, but the art really can't come from anyone else. Like the way you take all that, put it together and deliver it, and how you show up and how you design your systems in your practice and it's not like right or wrong. The percentage, like some people are just like science, this is my science practice, or some people are like, this is my philosophy-based practice and whatever. And this is a whole thing in chiropractic, but like the art is just you being an artist. Like that's the human in you that does it uniquely. So therefore that's the same in like every, like, I think it's like back to your question about like noticing what doesn't serve you anymore. It's like in motherhood, you are it's just like the art that you bring to your day, even, I mean, toddlers change the rules every week. They'll be like, we wake up at 5 now, or like, I don't eat chicken anymore or whatever. Like they just change the rules, and that can be super uncomfortable for a nervous system.
Yeah.
So if you are tired, you're just like, what do you mean you don't? What do you mean your favorite thing is to pour everything out now? Like,
right. Yeah.
Hobby. And it's just, does anything serve me? I don't even feel like I have time to go like, does that serve me anymore? It's like I just focus on the flow. Like,
yeah,
I just focus on letting it be more art.
Yeah.
Like, how can we make this beautiful? How can we just flow with this? How can we just, like, let it go, like lazy river.
Yeah.
Or whitewater rafting, depending on the moment. But regardless, just like be in the tube on the river.
Yes.
And at work, it's kind of the same way. It's like I could get really like, stuck in what's going, like, do I need to push harder here? Or should I try this, or should I do that, or be more of this or be more of that? But it's just so not about that, you know? It's more like, what does this season have to reveal to me that I might not have considered it?
Yeah. And Sara, how do you, I mean, neither of us are believers in the balanced life, because really the balanced life would mean that we're working 84 hours a week and we have 84 hours a week off the clock, and that's definitely not what we subscribe to. There was a day there was a period of time, a season when we did, but we don't do that anymore. Yeah. So how do you do the zigzag principle of being in flow in your life, and specifically now let's shift to business, and yet still running the systems and still looking at the metrics, and still, that which we measure grows, and still making the sales and doing the marketing? And does that mean that when we're in a flow, we're just no, whatever comes up?
Yeah, no, not necessarily. I think I lean on my team and their strengths in big ways. And I just thank God every day that they're here during this season, and that he brought me these specific people who have shown up in these specific ways. When I hired Dr. Stephanie, who's with me now, I didn't know that she would be so detailed and organized and good at all these things. And yet also she has never had intentions of being here forever. So I just am thank God you're here right now. That's for sure. And don't be afraid to come to me the moment you think you might leave, because I just want to have time with that. And and I think leaning on my team, and there, you told me something in coaching at one point. It's you don't have to do everything every day. What is your top priority, or your top 3 things? Just being so realistic and clear about, today I'm I have this Facebook Live and I have this paperwork. And there are also 50 other things waiting. And yet they're the most patient things, these things on my task list. Sure enough, they wait for me. They're always still there. And when some of them really need attention because I'm at a deadline I didn't know existed, they shout. They let me know. Move me to the top, please. We're going to kick you out if you don't, or whatever. It's and so it's a lot of faith and flow and surrender, but it's not necessarily there's so much clarity within that too. Yeah. And if I didn't honestly, after I had my head injury, if I didn't honestly feel still showing up to this, then I would have honored that. I would have said, I don't think I can do this, but I wanted to. You know what I mean? Really just showing up clear.
Yeah. With nothing on it, right? How would you explain nothing on it, or the feel of I've got so much thinking on it? For our audience, describe the difference between those, because for those of you who haven't done private coaching with me or done a private mastermind, there is a lexicon, right? There's a lexicon of the performance monkey. There's a lexicon of having something on it. There's a lexicon of being in the river, right? And yes, no. What are the differences between I've got a lot of thinking on it and I've surrendered that thinking?
We used to refer to it as living in the period. So you're just I'm going to do this today. Stop. No more. Not I'm going to do this, but also I should probably do that. And I'm never going to do this. I'm such a bad person for not doing this. And I have to go to the bathroom, but I never stop to go to the bathroom. I probably have pelvic floor issues, blah, blah, blah. And just so many things. And you're just shut up. And it's as often as possible. And one of my patients yesterday asked me the most excellent question. He was I hear what you're saying with what you're explaining, and yet there's this anxiousness. He said, we were talking about how chiropractic adjustments are also really helping his parasympathetic tone. He's just really, we are, helping his pain, but his nervous system is in more dire need. And he's just this stressed out guy. And he doesn't want to go into another school year of the same stuff. And he's so, but how do I hear you, but how do I physically shift this. Like there's something physical going on in my body, like this current that I feel. And I'm like, oh, great question. We can talk about vagus nerve things. So before this call, I was sitting here EFT tapping. For me, that's what just occurred to me. Or sometimes I'll hum or sing or do some breath work or take a minute and shake or tap. I'm right here right now.
Yeah.
Or, or do a quick little dance it out or whatever. Or if I'm like sitting there on my phone and I'm doom scrolling and Emily's next to me and I'm like, I don't even care. I can't today. Like there are just those moments when your body's doing something else than what you want to be doing. Like, you want to return to just living in the period, meaning like that quiet. Quiet. There's not a whole lot else there.
Yeah.
And I'll just like pick her up and put on a song and like dance with her.
Yeah.
Because it's just like trying to realize Michael Neal, I think, describes it in one of his books as like, what if there was like this most beautiful, pristine lake or river like that you've ever seen, and it just glistens and you see it and you immediately are just reminded of like peace and melting and like that quiet center, whatever he says it so nicely. And all you have to, but you didn't realize that it lives up here. And all you have to do is look up and you can take it in and return to that feeling at all time. But you just didn't know it was there because you never looked up.
Yeah.
And it's that concept. It's like knowing that it's right there for you, that feeling exists, that you absolutely can access it. It is actually doing less to get there. It's not hard. So by definition, it's not hard. It's actually quite easy. And you really can like shed all of it and just live in that like view or that state of being. You can, like I've done some somatic therapy before where you like just kind of ask your body what it's doing, like protecting you in certain situations, and you peel back all these layers and you go through it again and again and again until all of a sudden there's nothing there to peel back anymore. And it's not like there's this nucleus we're all hoping for where we're just healed and happy all the time. It's kind of an eye of the storm. There's always going to be things where you're out in it and then you're in the center again. But but both exist, and neither is right or wrong. You're just adapting based on how healthy your nervous system is.
Well, and I think that there's so much confidence and calm that comes with remembering that I am not my thoughts. Like we can come outside and be the observer of our thoughts and to recognize and remember, oh, wait, this is just a thought storm. It passes, right? Like this isn't permanent and it doesn't say anything about me. This is just wiring, and I can decide, do I want to follow its rules or do I want something entirely different? And there's just so much confidence and flow, in my opinion, within that, live in the periods and not the commas. So as we wrap this up, for the women watching who feel like their worth is measured by what they produce, what's one question they could ask themselves today to start untangling from that really and truly lie?
I think there's one question that comes to mind right away is like, do I have to experience my circumstances like this? Because I think whenever you're like, I need to produce and be more of whatever this thing is, you're also in this anxious attachment to it, in this like scarcity mode. Like there's definitely a feeling of I don't have enough. And you could just be like, count my blessings, and that's beautiful. But also like, do I have to experience my circumstances like this? My house is like not finished, and it has been this ongoing project since Billy and I got married. But also, like I live right by the lake, and we have this beautiful community in this pool. And when I realized I didn't have to experience my home like this just because it's a project, it was like suddenly I wanted to decorate it. Suddenly I wanted to nest. Suddenly I wanted to make every finished surface just gorgeous and us and family and beautiful. Like, do I consider, is it even serving me to think about it this way?
Yeah. Like
you can just choose to be different.
Yes. And I think there's just so much, at least I know in my own life and a lot of people I coach, that when we finally like wire that our experience of life comes from within. It's not our circumstances, it's our thoughts about our circumstances, right? It's not the chaos that an unfinished home or remodel has. It's our thoughts about it, right? Or not getting the conversion. It's what our thoughts are about who we are, that is the difference between the stress and the peace. And so really just embracing and understanding that makes such a difference, that like I'm not my thoughts, I'm not the circumstance or this condition of my house. That's this thing. So as we like wrap this up completely, what do you want to say to, or give a shout out to the woman who missed the mark and didn't grab her seat to Sedona, to give her encouragement for the next time I put a retreat together? Don't think about it, act, move, and grab your spot.
Yeah. I think it's one thing to go to a retreat that's going to have it all figured out for you and like give you something that comes from the outside in. And that sounds great, right? Just lay it out for me and I'll do it. That's like every online course you ever bought and never finished, and every book you ever bought and never finished, or every task list you ever created and never checked off. Yeah. That's great. It does sound good. But when it comes from within, which is what I think that you have devoted your entire, it seems, life to, is really helping people find things from within themselves, then it's just the most powerful, authentic thing you can do. And with your love of beauty and nature and adventure and being around other women, I think, why not? I'm sorry, what about that sounded bad? Yeah. So I think there's just going to be so much ease and genuine connection and like introspection. So
well, you said it perfectly. I couldn't say it better, so I'm not going to try. I do thank you for being with me today, and all of you who tuned in. Thanks so much for joining us. If there's a way that I can help you or Sara can, please reach out to us. There aren't dumb questions, and you're not alone unless you choose to be. So reach out, let us help you, and have a great day. God bless you. See ya.